For my last video, I'm going to contradict myself a little bit. Now, when it comes to solving the Maple Leafs center position or what have you, or even with the Jets have wanted a center for a while. A lot of teams have wanted centers. Calgary as well is just obsessed with getting a center. The thing about it is I really am an advocate for the Maple Leafs. I'm a fan of the Maple Leafs, so I'm going to have that perspective of them solving it for the long term. Essentially just getting a player where you just solve this issue and you don't have to run around a little bit. This is why when they were talking about Shen, I was a little bit hesitant, although I'm not the biggest fan of Shen. I don't mind the way he plays, but maybe that's just my bias that I'm not a huge fan of Braden Shen in general. However, we know now that the Scott Laughton trade is potentially heating up right now, and the two biggest players are the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Winnipeg Jets. Now, if the Leafs get him, I understand he's only got 2 years left on his contract. I understand that. I understand everything this people are going to say, but here's the thing. He's only getting paid like $3 million for this year and next. And you could probably re-sign him, but the problem with this contract is he would be about 32 at that point, which gives me a little bit of pause on it, right? Like I would prefer just a younger center in general. Now, I'm just going to talk about Scott Laughton in general. Like, Scott Laughton is an unbelievable player. Like, I don't want to sound like, I don't like saying the term that he is an elite third-line center. Like, I don't really think that term really makes a lot of logical sense, but I'm going to use it here. I don't know how anybody can watch this guy play. It's honestly crazy that the Philadelphia Flyers don't want to keep him. I guess from the Philadelphia Flyers perspective, they want to move an asset out. But listen, I don't think the Flyers are that bad to where they want to trade us, especially how hard centers are to get. I don't know why that they're doing something like this. Like, I would personally still keep him. I think Scott Laughton is really, really good. Now, the whole question from the Jets and the Maple Leafs is going to be that the Philadelphia Flyers were very firm. Like, they've wanted a first-round pick this entire time. Which, again, I don't know why either of these teams isn't just giving up a first-round selection and another piece. Now, the question is, though, is when I say other piece, quote-unquote, what does that mean? Like, what exactly are they asking for here from each of these squads? Now, this rumor that they obviously are very firm on getting a first-round pick might actually help the Winnipeg Jets a little bit. Now, it might or it might not. So, Winnipeg does have a 20, 25, 26, and 27 first-round selections. So, they actually have all of their first-round selections. And the Maple Leafs do not have a first-round selection this year. So, I wonder if the Philadelphia Flyers might put them above the Leafs just because they can offer a first-round selection this year. I don't know how strict Philadelphia is with that. Perhaps they would be willing to just take Toronto's 2026 if Toronto is willing to add another piece, if you understand what I mean. I mean, to be honest, though, typically that generally isn't a problem for teams. Like, whatever the best value is, a lot of NHL teams will just go for whatever the perceived best value is. I'm just saying from the Philadelphia Flyers, from my perspective, if I was managing the team, I would actually want to go after getting that first round selection this year. Although I do wonder if teams look into the fact of how deep drafts are. That's another caveat too, that it depends on how deep the next three drafts are. And then it might make logical sense that even if you're getting a later first round pick, if that draft happens to be deep, it could help the Philadelphia Flyers more. So again, I'm sure that their management is thinking through a lot of these things and analyzing to make sure that they get the best value for the asset. And again, I see a lot of people on, Twitter, X, whatever you call it, social media, a lot of people saying, wow, they're getting a first-round selection. This guy's a 40-point center. First off, values in terms of what centers get and defensemen and goalies for that matter, but especially centers are so warped. You have no idea what's going to be happening. Like, I am really, really interested to see what guys like Bukestad and Yanni Gore. I mean, Seattle is not very good. I mean, the Leafs played Seattle. They're not a very good team at all. And Yanni Gore is not having a very good season. Let's talk about that center for a while. what do you think he's going to end up getting? I wouldn't doubt that some team is probably going to give him a lot more than you think. And I wouldn't doubt that they're going to get a first round selection. Like, there's a lot of teams that have their first round selections that they think that they're competitive. You know, depth down the middle of the ice in terms of center position and defense, like, building your team down the middle. The old adage goes that you should build your team down the middle, and it's not wrong. It's always been difficult, but this year it's just been impossible to find centers. That's again why Chandler Stevenson got his unbelievable amount of money. Scott Laughton is a player that is gritty. He offers strong two-way play. He is a guy that you can realistically put out there, like, against any other line. So let's say the Maple Leafs are playing, I don't know, the Panthers or something in the playoffs at one point. You can confidently put him out with two other defensive wingers, or the Jets, whatever team they're playing out. He is the type of player that you can put out there against other teams' top lines and not sweat very much. Do you understand what I mean? Like, it was the same thing with Ryan O'Reilly. Now, I think Ryan O'Reilly is better than Laughton. I'm just saying that, like, he is one of those players that you're not, like, gritting your teeth putting that player out there. And while his offensive game isn't going to blow your socks off, it's not non-existent as well. Like, you need a player that has some offensive touch, and he does have that. Now, he's not going to be the first player that jumps over the boards on the power play or anything like that, right? So, question of the video, if you are a Winnipeg Jets fan or a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, tell me what you think. And what asset would you be willing to give up? And don't just give me assets where it's like a bunch of players that nobody wants. You have to entice the team to be able to make the trade. It's a premium asset. It's a center. I understand we all want to keep our assets, in our organization. I get that, but it is a premium asset, so you're going to have to give up a little bit more. Question of the video, what would you be willing to give up? Anyways, I'm going to leave the video there. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, and make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.